So, um, New Year's I had my friend.
Oh, your camera's still up. I don't know if that's
Okay,
if that's
now
something you
it's.
can. If you can't do it, that's fine. I didn't know
Let's
if
see
you
if I
were
can.
if you can just turn it back on in Google Meet or if it's like disabled for some reason, maybe through OBS. Oh, there it is.
Okay, so that's my side camera. The other one I'm using on OBS.
Yeah, that's cool. Are we live?
We're live.
Oh shit. Let me see if I can pull it up on YouTube. Oh, there it is. All right, so I'll mute this. Gotta make sure I don't pick my nose.
It wouldn't be the worst thing I have on my YouTube channel, to be honest. Oh my god. I had my friend Richard over on New Year's.
Hmm.
Um, Good morning, Alessandra. Ooh, she says good morning, handsome. Alessandra is a rich, gorgeous lawyer from Brazil.
And a schmoozer apparently.
And Rose is a rich, gorgeous. I don't know what she does, but she lives in Toronto.
Hey, Alessandra, nice to meet you also.
So, just to catch the girls up, Zach is incredible guy. Everything I have good in my apartment is from him. My let's see, one, two, three, four, five monitors, two laptops, one desktop, tablets, phones, other really cool items. He's been working in tech for forever.
7 years, 8 years. uh, seven or eight of a like 16-year career in IT. But that was on the recommendation of a friend that I should move over to tech. He was like, "There's ping pong, there's free food, you'd love it."
Really, that was
So
the
I made
sales
the
pitch.
switch. It has a lot of benefits, some downsides, not all sunshine and roses.
Well, it could be worse. I mean, you got your own place, you got a good income, you have a great social life, and this session was initiated by him. He wants to kind of put our heads together and work on our lives, which I appreciate. I appreciate your approach to life. And not that you're like systematic, although you are, but just you have a great balance of like logic and emotion. I would say,
Hmm.
you know.
That's some that's something you feel you don't have?
Well,
A balance, maybe, I guess would be the
yeah,
operative word there.
yeah. I've been in a bad way. I would say it's a bad way.
Hmm.
Um, Not sleeping, not even eating right lately.
Yeah.
Kind of rebounded off the fast and incorrectly.
Hmm. Hmm. What
Um,
about rebounding? Do you think you did wrong about like coming back from that fest?
Ate too much too soon.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I just completely almost treated it like when I used to do fighting and I'd just binge after a fight.
Right, right. I remember you telling me you went from like 170 to like over 200 basically overnight, you
Yeah,
know, from from eating like a huge amount after.
yeah,
That seems like something probably a lot of guys do though, right?
yeah. Definitely, definitely. Not recommended after a fast though. I had like a point where my feet and hands were all swollen.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Uh, Getting these residual side effects from what's called refeeding syndrome.
Hmm.
Still
And
no
the
sleep, Rose. Yeah. It's been an issue ever since I had kids. Um, I started making YouTube videos in 2000. I would say probably 2009. You can go back actually to my YouTube channel and see when the first video I made was 2008, 2009 maybe. And that took me, for a 2 minute video, it took me probably 12 hours to make because I was still learning the protocol. And I started doing it at night after I got home from the gym when everybody was asleep. Then I would wake up and be dead tired for the kids.
Hmm.
And not only that, but unbeknownst to me, the lack of sleep was manifesting in behavioral problems, which was a contributing factor in the downfall of the marriage. Because it's like when you're irritable, you can't have an adult conversation. It just devolves to arguing. You know.
Yeah. I mean, I can't function if I'm on too little sleep. Uh, and yeah, it has so many detrimental effects. So I see where you're coming from.
Yeah, so I'm wondering, man, just kind of talking out loud, just wondering how much of my dysfunctional life is stems from that. And then, for example, like if I sleep, if I go to sleep late, then I sleep in, miss that whole,
Hmm.
everybody's saying like all the entrepreneurs, you're waking up early, you're getting your bulky work done before everybody else is waking up.
Yeah. That it could certainly be something to like a foundational thing to address, right? If you're looking to get yourself healthy.
Hmm.
And I know like a lot of what you're doing now is like, oh, I want to get myself healthy, going from where I am now to a point where I would consider myself healthy. Yeah, sleep might be something to address. And the thing is, you're not alone. There's so many people who have sleep issues. I have sleep issues. I although I've gotten really good about going to bed at the same time every night and getting up roughly the same time every morning. But I do wake up in the middle of the night and I have trouble falling back to sleep. That's a very regular occurrence. Sometimes it's not, sometimes it is though. Sometimes I wake up and it's 2:30, 3 a.m. and I try laying in bed and I can't fall back to sleep. So I'll read a little bit and try to get myself drowsy again. Go
Okay.
back. Sometimes I wake up at 4:30 a.m. I can't go back to sleep. Sometimes I wake up 5:30 a.m. I've been listening to one of the Huberman Lab podcasts.
Okay.
He did a 6-part series with this guy named Matt Walker, and the whole series is about sleep.
Wow.
Um, so I've been trying to take some pointers from that.
Hmm.
Maybe we could talk about that. Maybe we could talk about like the things I've learned from that and whether or not you could
Cool.
apply them.
Hmm.
The first thing they talk about is temperature. So before when you're preparing to go to sleep, you want it the if you can drop your body temperature 1 to 2 degrees, it'll put you in a state where you falling asleep is easier.
Hmm.
So a cooler environment. I know you probably don't have a problem with that given where you are right now,
Hmm.
right? The heat is the heat off or is it working?
Yeah, it works now.
It works. Oh, okay. Um, but like my apartment is in a weird situation where the temperature fluctuates very much depending on what the temperature is outside. So right now it's great. Right now it's like 30 degrees outside. My apartment temperature is 72 degrees according to my thermometer. It's actually quite comfortable. Um,
More.
anyway, I learned that if you take a warm or hot shower before you go to bed and you step out of the shower into the ambient air, which is colder, it can help drop your body temperature. So if you like
Mm.
get right into bed after that, it can
Mm.
help you fall asleep. Also, the major stuff they talk about, which is try to reduce screen time before going to bed. If you are going to be on screens, see if you can have the light shifted towards like red, I think is there's some settings on your phone which you can do it. I do it on my Kindle, I do it on my phone, and I actually just installed Flux on my desktop. You familiar with Flux?
Mm-mm.
It's an app which, depending on the time of day, it will start to red tint the color scheme of the computer monitor.
Wow.
And so it does it automatically depending on the time frame you shift. Or you can just let it do it automatically. It'll do it based on the sunset of, your time zone,
Hmm.
and it'll start to redshift the screen, and so that you're not getting that blue light from the screen, which could contribute to staying up,
Hmm.
like triggering your body to think it's still light out.
Right.
Uh, they also talked about a bunch of stuff like getting sunlight very early in the morning. So as soon as you wake up,
Mm.
go outside and get sunlight. And what
Hmm.
that does is that helps set your circadian rhythm for the day. Now, keep in mind, this is not something I do. I get up and like the first thing I do is have coffee. I've been thinking about doing that though, like getting up and literally first thing, putting on some clothes and going outside and getting a face full of sunlight.
Nice.
And they also said like cold showers in the morning
Oh boy.
could also help with that, which I've also been considering doing. Blaze does it. He was telling me about that.
He's doing the
And
cold shower in the morning, huh? Hmm.
yeah, he said every morning because he's a morning shower person. He'll do it.
Hmm.
So yeah, there's a lot of stuff that you can do. You could try one thing and then kind of progress from there. Like pick one of those things and seeing if any of that could help. Like
Hmm.
maybe the morning sunshine thing. Like when you wake up, go out and get some sunshine for 15, 20 minutes.
Hmm.
See if that helps sleep. Although honestly, I think what could really help is the screen thing, like staying off screens. I am bad at it, admittedly, but I try to limit screen exposure for about an hour before I go to bed. Again, I'm
Okay.
not good at it because I'm reading on a Kindle, which is technically a screen,
Okay.
and also I'll like browse YouTube a little bit.
Hmm.
So I'm thinking of maybe I should change that to, instead of using a Kindle, getting an actual physical book and trying to keep myself from browsing YouTube before I go to bed. That
Hmm.
might help.
Okay.
Anyway,
An actual
yeah,
book. Rose says it was not till I started the 9 to 5 grind that I was able to settle at nighttime and sleep. Yeah,
that's
and then you brought up Blaze. It's interesting, and I guess as an artistic personality, I was told I'm always gonna be trying to like do the opposite of what everybody else does. But I I can see how like being in the military benefits people. Like Blaze, for example, we just talking about him. He probably doesn't want us to talk about him, but I'll just say that he's regimented. Um, he's got his way of doing things, but he's definitely set up for life. He's got his job. He's got his savings, and one of the guys, the guy that I work for, that owns the new gym, he like on one hand, I'm I'm looking at his life, and it's kind of like messy. Like his when I walk into his areas where he lives or works and stuff, like it's definitely not good at. It's not definitely not organized, but he goes from place to place. He's up at the crack of dawn. He's going to his job in the military. He works out every day. He's got his family. He's got his second job, which is teaching that he loves, and he gets it all handled. He's the type of guy from the military training and his personality where it's like there's no question whether it's gonna get done. Like they just
right.
get the job done, and it doesn't have to be pretty. It doesn't have to be neat. But he's a man that you can depend on,
Hmm.
and I admire that. As an artist, my whole life, I I guess it'd be more on the female, and I'm not talking about like sex, but just like as an energy on the female side of things, where it's like, um, what do I feel like doing? Um, you know, um, Thinking about things in terms of art and creativity, which is, it's not regimented. It's more like freedom. And on one hand, that enabled me to kind of develop creatively, but on the other hand, the only time I was able to kind of buckle down and get my work done was when it was for fighting, when I literally had like my life on the line. And then, so then after fighting, those habits weren't developed. So it's like, oh, I feel like staying up late. I feel like sleeping in, and I'll be able to get, a couple of days if I reach the end of my rope and I'm just like, holy fuck, I don't want to live like this anymore. And then I'll start, like, I'm starting a new cleanse. Monday will be day one, so tomorrow's day zero. That's the one thing that I've been able to be disciplined and consistent on is the actual nutrition and cleansing. I know we don't agree on the method, but as far as sleeping, it's not really something that I've developed as a habit, only because after fighting, that impetus for going to bed early, it was gone. So, um, yeah, I admire that about you, that you kind of like self-disciplined, self-motivated.
Before we go too deep into that, I will say that it's not entirely self-discipline. In fact, I would say that most of it is not self-imposed. Like you were talking about how you were able to get stuff done because you had this life on the line kind of thing for fighting.
Hmm.
I think there's something to be said for having a structure outside of yourself which holds you accountable to a schedule. So in the case of me and our brother, other brother, um, like having a job that I know I need to go to is that structure for me. I've actually found, even in the brief periods in between work, like on a weekend, I start to slip. And during vacations, so for example, the last week when I was off for the whole week, I really started to slip from my schedule, and that'll probably happen again when, say, I go to visit mom and dad in Florida. Like I'm off for that whole week, and it's not going to be like getting up at 5:36 every morning. It's going to be getting up at 7, maybe 7:30.
Nice.
I start to slip because there's no requirement to get up, and when there's no requirement, I'll sort of fall out. So I think sometimes it does help to have some kind of motivating factor, where it's not just motivating, it's like you have to do this. You know what I mean? Like in the case of fighting for you, is like you had to do that, because if you didn't do that, then whatever, you wouldn't be able to perform at your highest ability, or you wouldn't have been able to fight at the level that you needed to in order to achieve your goals, which is obviously winning or whatever.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't discount that, having something outside yourself. I've debated with myself a lot. It's like, man, if I could only just take that motivation and internalize it.
Right.
Like, can't I just self-motivate? Like, why can't I do that? And I think I've come to the conclusion that I really can't. If I rely on myself, in the same way that if I rely on my own memory to keep track of like all the things I need to do, it's not going to work. It's like I have this argument with dad all the time. He's like, "Where's my phone?" Right? Because he puts it down and then he forgets where it is. I'm like, your phone needs to be in one of two places. It needs to be in your pocket, or it needs to be in like a designated location. So for me, it's either in my pocket or it's like on the desk right next to me. My keys are in one location along with my wallet. If they're not there, they're in my pocket. Um, you create these systems to keep yourself accountable. And if something is not on my calendar, it might as well not exist because I can't rely on myself to remember to do things. So I think there's a value in both creating systems and having things external to your mind, which kind of force you to adhere to whatever specific time frames or something like that.
Mm.
So maybe that's something you could think about. It's like what would motivate you to get up early in the morning?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that is. I'm just pointing that out.
Well, yeah, I started streaming a early news at 4:20 to 5 a.m. Then
Mhm.
the next thing I'm gonna add is a workout after that, and so I don't know, it kind of seems like, and I'm still just to preface this, I'm still somewhat flying by the seat of my pants, but
Mhm.
I'm also kind of doing what you're saying, which is trying to systematize everything.
Mhm.
So the schedule would be like, if I can optimize this schedule, would be like first thing stream, because that's like my job, so to speak. Um, and the second thing, workout. That's also my job, but um, so it's like if I'm trying to become a an online coach or something like that, an online source of help. So the coaching is first, but then why am I a coach? Okay, so it's the fitness and the nutrition. So the morning news, the morning workout, the morning nutrition, which because I don't eat breakfast, it would be like something like a tea. But then also, um, I want to practice music and things. So because I'm using my voice on stream, it's like this the singing and the music practice is actually part of the brand because it's making my voice better. Um, when when I get back from Maine, as of now, March 1st, I'm going to start this kids program at
Mhm.
the new gym. So this routine that I'm talking about now would probably take me up until the at least the late morning. Then I can start to work on the actual online presence and training. So yeah, you get like moms and people who train after they drop the kids off. So that's the late morning class. Then
Mhm.
you have the lunchtime class, and then you have the after school program. Then you have the after work class, and so from March 1st to September 1st, that's 6 months. March, April, May, June, July, August, 6 months. In that time, I'm gonna try to get this, get these different classes, the late morning class, the lunch class, the after school program, and the adult class, to be able to be taught by me from a remote location, and a teacher can follow along on a tablet or a screen. So it's like almost like a franchise that people can buy into, uh, where I'm running the class, but I'm teaching the class, but they're running the class. Because what I want to do is to be able to travel on my laptop come September when Big Little Zach goes away to school, and at least be able to go visit. He doesn't want me around, but at least be able to go visit him. Um, so as far as systematizing things, I think that's definitely something that's gonna help me, and I can still do it even though I'm not like in the military or have like a regular job. I can still systematize it and make it to be, because I do thrive in a routine.
Yeah.
Just because I'm artistic, like when I started writing the book, I paid, I think it was $37 or $27 or 60, some weird number. It was called 30-day book. So they gave you every day an email to work on your book. A lot of it was write for 25 minutes, rest for 5 minutes, write for 25 minutes, rest for 5 minutes. That Japanese method or whatever it is. And
Yeah.
I got it done. It was 30 days. I got the outline of the book
Hmm.
done.
Right.
And so I know that what you're saying is accurate. By externalizing the routine somewhat.
I mean, it seems like when you're starting this program at this new gym, it's basically going to be a full-time job. I mean, you're talking about doing mornings, mid mornings, afternoons, early evenings, evenings.
Right.
You're gonna be working like 12, 14-hour days, looks like, you know,
Well,
at least initially.
the
Oh,
only
you.
thing that he hired me to do is to teach the kids program.
Hmm.
But there's still the cleaning. I have a very strict way of cleaning.
Hmm.
I can't veer from because that's my health on the line. But
Hmm.
these other classes, these are going to be me kind of as an entrepreneur.
Hmm.
So yeah, I used to say that I work 24/7 because in 2006 when I incorporated my name, I made Luke Kumu Incorporated. I said basically everything I do is for martial arts, whether it's food, clothes, travel. It's all geared towards being a better fighter or a better martial artist. So it's like a write-off. So I was like, basically, my life is my job to be healthy, to be a good martial artist. And now, as I'm transitioning more as into being a health coach as a full-time job and entrepreneurship, they say that's a full-time, that's more than a full-time job. So I get down on myself sometimes. I think, oh, am I lazy? I don't think I'm lazy. I think I have moments where I've not done the things like the sleeping properly, and then so that makes me have low energy throughout the day, and then also contributes to depression, which can kind of like tint your worldview. So I don't think I'm lazy. I think I wouldn't have been able to be a moderately successful martial artist if I was lazy. I think I just have to be able to focus and, like you're saying, systematize things so that my energy is able to be focused and productive. But
Well,
yeah, I don't mind working all day every day, especially if it's for what I'm interested in.
I mean,
So
if you were able to fix some of the sleep issues,
mhm,
for example,
mhm,
uh, then yeah, you might have more energy, which might reduce the depressive symptoms, which might enable you to more adequately complete some of these short-term goals, right?
mhm.
Um, so yeah, if we're looking at like foundational things you can do to ultimately improve everything, that's probably one of the main ones. Um,
For sure.
because it's like you're talking about being an artist. It's like, how can you create art if you're tired and miserable all the time? You want to be in a situation where you're energized and engaged and, you know, uh, creatively inspired and interested in creating things. I know I have a really hard time doing anything when I'm tired, much less create something. Uh,
Mm.
so
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. 2-1 today. Let's see. I went to bed. I think I don't know what time. I had decent sleep last night. Before I got 2 hours. Night before that I pulled an all-nighter. So let's say today is day -1. Tomorrow's day 0. And then so to being day 0, I'm just relating it back to like the program that I'm trained in with the nutritional cleansing. Um, the day 0 is like you start on day 0. It's not a full day because you woke up and the night before like it wasn't a good night's sleep. So tomorrow's day zero. That meaning tomorrow night is the beginning of the sleep, the new sleep protocol. Um, so you're saying cold. So go take a shower and come out into the cold, and then jump into bed.
You could try that, certainly, like to drop your body temperature.
And then I
Um,
gotta wake up when I wake up in the morning tomorrow. Also get sun on my face.
right? I don't know if just sitting by a window might help,
Hey Elizabeth.
or actually getting outside might help.
Right.
Um, what was I gonna say? Ah, I can't remember.
Yeah, it's huge. It's actually huge, and the fact that I'm calling myself a health coach without a proper sleep routine is pretty
Right.
ironic.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna be, I remember what I was gonna say. Maybe maybe looking at it like, oh, I'm gonna start day zero is actually maybe you could be doing a different approach instead of saying, oh, I'm gonna start at this time, and if I fall off, then I gotta reset. The
Okay.
idea is I'm just gonna do it.
Uh-huh.
I'm just gonna do it every day, right? There's no starting. There's if you fall off, you just start it again. But there's no like, oh, go back to day zero. Oh, let me wait this weekend and then I'll start on Monday again. It's just,
Mm.
it's kind of like what people say. It's like New Year's resolutions don't work.
Mm.
It's like you want to do something, just start now.
Mm-hmm.
I found that very much to be the case when I fall off things to just, you know, get back on as soon as possible instead of saying, oh, I'm going to do it at this time. I'm going to do it this time. I'm going to reset. People are always saying that, oh, I'm going to start my diet next week. I'll binge this weekend and then I'll start my diet next weekend. This is actually something I kind of grasped from this woman who I follow on YouTube, Laura Spath. She's also does the carnivore diet. And she found that she had been doing this like yo-yo dieting for years because she was allowing herself like cheat days and she was allowing herself to go off the diet. But what she found was when she did that, getting back on was extraordinarily difficult. I found this myself. Like I used to journal every single day. I did it for a year and a half,
Mm-hmm.
and then I fell off and I still haven't gotten back to doing it because like reinitiating the habit is so hard. It's harder than just keeping the habit consistent.
Mm. Interesting.
So like doing it like, oh yeah, I fall off and then coming back to it is more difficult than just doing it every day. So um, yeah, I think in the case of the woman on YouTube, Laura Spath, she found that she could only do a extremely strict carnivore diet and could almost never deviate from it.
Yeah.
So because if she does deviate, then she basically falls off
Right.
and she can't trust herself to get back on.
Mm.
So she's like, I can't give myself any leeway. Like other people can, other people can do that. Other people can have a cheat day and then the following day they're right back on and they're doing it again. She's like,
Yeah.
I'm not that person. I can't do that. And so she's had to initiate some more draconian restrictions on herself. And I think about that sometimes in terms of myself, and maybe I need to do that more often than not. Uh, I've been able to maintain a relatively regular exercise routine recently. Every other day I do some exercises, knee exercises and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
which is good. But
Nice.
yeah, yeah. I don't know if you'd like her stuff. She's like full on strict carnivore, like literally eating only meat.
Yeah, I
Although,
was trying to see if I recognized her because I follow a lot of,
yeah,
not a lot, but I follow certain carnivore.
I
Um,
think I saw on your Instagram you follow Saladino, right? Paul Saladino.
Saladino. There's another chick that's
But
a
you could
carnivore.
see how much weight she lost. She and her husband reversed their diabetes.
Hmm.
Um, but she's got a few videos about exactly what happened with that, like how it happened and her struggles with the diet and ultimately like going on strict carnivore and then having this drastic result. She had like surgery to remove the loose skin.
Oh,
I think
okay.
that's one of
She
the
did get the
Instagram posts
surgery.
right
I
there.
see. Yeah,
Yeah.
I saw this one. She got the loose skin. Yeah, I guess after a certain
Sammy
period, it doesn't come
Sammy the
back.
Bunny says, actually a hot shower is the way to drop your temp. Yeah, I think that's the general idea. Hot
Sign me up.
shower, and then you get out and the ambient temperature is cooler than the shower, and then it drops your body temperature. I've been trying to take showers later in the evening, like right before I go to bed, just to try it, see if that
Hmm.
does anything for me.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna do that for sure. Shower before bed.
You try it. I mean, again, that's one tool that might help
um,
in the absence of like total temperature control of your apartment, which obviously you don't have. I don't even have that. You need like central AC if you wanted to make something like that work.
mm,
You know, if I could keep my apartment at 68 degrees year round, I would. That would be
okay.
perfect.
I always there was a movie by Ghibli. What was it called? Not Howl's Moving Castle. Spirited Away.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one.
Oh, there's a scene where it takes place in a bathhouse. There's a
Oh,
scene where this person, this spirit comes in, and they're like, oh, he's gonna rent the main bath. So it's like this huge tub. It's bigger than a hot tub. It's like a pool, but it's filled with hot water. And they just go in, and you could tell they're really tired. Just kind of like fall into the water, and then there's people standing on the edge with like these giant brushes, and they're just like soft brushing them, scrubbing them.
hmm
And yeah, I just thought because sometimes I'm just like too tired to clean myself. Just like I can't even move, especially after training. Like my whole body's like broken down. So I'm
yeah.
like, oh, that'd be great if I could just do it's like a hot tub, and then just like you could just lay there and then brushes just brushes wash you.
Yeah, if I've dreamed about owning a home and having a both a sauna and a cold plunge. I think
Sammy
that's something I would legitimately
Sammy's a
build.
snow bunny. He goes down to Florida for the winter.
Oh, nice.
He's from up here.
Um, Speaking of cold plunges, did mom show you that video of me jumping in the ocean?
She was looking at it, and I was trying to watch over her shoulder.
Oh, okay. I can show you later. I can send it to you. But
Yeah,
I think you should come next year. I think you'd have a good time. You'd have a lot of
I
fun.
went once and I liked it a lot. Yeah. How
It
would you
was
rate
it
it this year?
was up?
Go ahead. You gonna say something?
No, what did you
I
say?
was gonna say, how would you rate it compared to like years gone by?
Oh, it was warm outside, warm-ish. It
Mm,
wasn't too cold. It was like over 40 degrees
mm-hmm,
ambient temperature.
mm-hmm,
It was cloudy, but the sun peeked out a couple of times, at least in the early part of the day when we were there.
mm-hmm.
And honestly, the water wasn't that bad. I had gone with my friend David to Spa Castle in Queens
Yeah,
the 2 days before, and I went in the cold plunge there.
yeah.
And the cold plunge at Spa Castle was actually worse than the ocean on
Mm-hmm,
January 1st.
mm-hmm.
It was colder. So it was actually good to get in the cold plunge at Spa Castle because then I had recognized that feeling, and when I jumped in the ocean on January 1st, I was more prepared for it than I usually would. I think there is something to say for being acclimated to something like a cold plunge. You can know what to expect. Your body knows what to expect, so that when you do it, uh, it's not as much of a shock.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd
Makes
like to
sense.
start doing it.
Yeah.
Sammy, that was at Coney Island, not Long Beach. So the 122nd annual Coney Island Polar Bear Plunge. I've done it the last 3 years. It was amazing. I honestly wish I had something like that close by. I actually asked on Reddit in the Queen subreddit. I was like, "Is there anywhere in the area I could like jump in the water?" And they were like, "No," because even theoretically, if you could go jump in the East River, you don't want to jump into it. It's dirty. The area where I live, uh, there is like a little tiny beach where I could use, but it's actually an outlet for like rainwater that goes through the sewer system.
Hmm.
So there's a lot of shit that gets dumped in there.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think what I would need is an actual cold plunge, like a tub.
Yeah, they have plans where you can buy a like what mom and dad have in their
Oh
basement,
yeah,
the freezer, and you basically just make your own.
I could. I've seen YouTube videos on how to do it. It's basically just like a watertight tub. You can make it look nice. You can encase it in wood, and it has um, a water circulator, which
Mm.
circulates, freezing cold water through it. So you just like turn it on, you let the cold water circulate through it for a little while, and then you immerse yourself in it. So I could probably build one. I don't think it would be that bad. A little DIY project, maybe even
Hmm.
document it.
Yeah, for sure.
Should be cool. One of these days.
They're all the rage.
Yeah,
I
yeah, I know. I
I,
think it's good. It feels really, really good.
I like it when you go like you did it at Spa Castle. I used to go to this place in the city, the Russian Turkish bathhouse.
Mm,
So it would be like sauna, cold plunge, back and
yep,
forth.
yeah, that's what we did.
Get that lymphosizing.
I think it's the human body, and you could actually equate this to our psychology as well. I think it's we respond to challenge. We respond to we need we need I'm trying to think of the word here. We need for our bodies to encounter um I guess you could say conflict, but like extremes in order to become stronger. Like you
Mm.
become in the same way you lift weights. You lift weights to become stronger because your body is breaking itself down and rebuilding itself. But you're kind of doing the same thing with cold plunges, right? You're becoming more resilient
Right.
to cold. I think I found that. I don't know if it's specifically because I've done cold plunges or it might be also a combination of the diet that I'm doing, but I found that I think I'm actually more resilient to cold than I used to be. I mean, I'll walk down the street and I'll see people bundled up and I've got my jacket open just because my body is like hotter.
Mm.
I don't know why. Um, oh, there's a downside to that though. I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm like boiling hot for some reason.
Mm.
So
Mm. Mm.
I don't know if
Mm.
that's
You're
the
running
same.
hot.
Yeah. I think I tend to run hot.
Well, there's also besides I don't know if you'd call it esoteric or whatever the word is that you're using to describe like resilience.
Resilience, yeah.
Resilience, it's an actual thing, but a little bit more into the science of it. There's these hot and cold shock proteins that they talk about.
Right. Yeah, I'm not sure how that works. I've heard people talking about that, these proteins, but I don't know exactly what that means.
Yeah, but we'll have to look into Huberman or somebody if they talk about it.
Yeah, I think they've done some podcasts on it and stuff. Um, I think it just releases a whole bunch of endorphins in your body. It certainly makes you more resilient to cold because I just because of what I said, I noticed that if I do cold plunges consistently, it's easy. It becomes subsequently easier.
Hmm.
Um, and that's why I'm hoping to take cold showers in the morning. I just become more acclimated to it. It's
Hmm.
difficult in the winter. It's way easier in the summer. In the summer,
Mm.
it's like refreshing. You get into a cold shower, you're like, oh my God, it's amazing.
Right.
So, but in
Hmm.
the winter, it's actually kind of brutal.
Hmm.
But I mean, yeah, I mean, we could take that back to what we were talking about, the whole like systematizing thing and having something external to yourself that holds you accountable. It's, you put yourself in these situations where you're challenged and it allows you to maintain these habits, right? Because you're not relying on yourself to to try and maintain these things internally. You're just like relying on this system. where you're
Mm-hmm.
relying on this external force to make you more resilient, right? Whether
Okay.
it's a cold plunge or whatever. Or, you know,
Oh, I
it's
see.
sometimes it's putting yourself in uncomfortable situations where you know you're going to be challenged.
Mm.
I found that to be very much true. Um, I mean, exercise is a good example, right? You put yourself in uncomfortable situations where your body is stressed and you become more resilient as a result. But that could be psychological too. Um, I believe that socialization is certainly muscle. You and I've talked about this.
Mm.
You feel you feel that you're somewhat lacking in the social area, and you've said like, oh, Zach, you know, I wish I could socialize in the way that you do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But that's come from a lot of situations of being thrust into social settings on a continuous basis for a very long period of time. The main one being just my job. You know, I interact with people literally every single day, or rather, I'm forced to interact with people, oftentimes in very uncomfortable situations. You know, people come, this is not even just necessarily the nature of my job, but more so just the nature of working in the way that I do. It's
Mm.
like I have to interact with people, and sometimes they're pleasant, sometimes they're not. Sometimes people come to me with big problems. There's conflict on my team. There's conflict between me and my boss. Um, I think I got in trouble at work recently because I had a conflict with somebody.
Oh, really? No, I didn't
Uh,
know
yeah, he reached out to me directly, and I kind of told him off a little bit, and then he told the HR team,
that. Ooh.
and I'm on a year-long probation as a result.
Oh, damn, bro. You were rude on an
But
email.
yeah, but you know, it's like, and then the camp that I go to, that's another great example of like me being thrust into these situations where my job there is to find people who are maybe a little bit nervous about being in this giant social setting with a bunch of strangers and kind of help them get acclimated. And in the process, I feel like I've also grown myself by being forced to do that. You know, I learn a lot about myself and about socialization and about jokes, making people comfortable, topics of conversation that, you know, I think of myself almost as like a stand-up comedian because I'll go there subsequent weekends and I'll make the same jokes over and over again, but I always have a new audience.
Okay.
And you know,
Nice.
and so it always gets a laugh.
Hmm.
Uh, so yeah.
To pay no attention to the trolls in the chat, Mitsu is a troll.
Uh,
Alessandra's an amazing woman. She showed me her Instagram,
mm,
and
seems like yeah, she does take cold showers in the morning and a
she's
warm shower before
she's a
bed.
complete
Actually, I think
savage
I'm
in the gym.
what's up?
Complete savage in the gym. Like she
Oh
has
yeah.
body transformations on her Instagram and stuff.
I I think I'm going to transition not to hot showers in the evenings, but warm showers. I actually, what I've noticed is if I take a hot shower, it dries out my skin, and then I'm itchy when I go into bed.
Mm. Well, you got
So
to get a
it'll,
shower filter too, Zach.
yeah. Obviously,
That's that
I would
chlorine.
love to, I would love to just install these things. It's hard when you're living in an apartment. I'm technically not allowed to do any work myself.
Okay, but you just unscrew the nozzle and you
Yeah,
put the
yeah,
thing back.
yeah. I've been thinking about getting one. I've been reading a little bit
That's
more about
that's huge. I would recommend that.
the importance of water. I might actually consider getting an under the sink
Mm.
uh reverse osmosis filter,
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
investing in one,
Nice.
just for my drinking water, which would be amazing.
Yep. Absolutely.
And yeah, maybe for my shower too. I think that would actually really help.
100% for skin. I'm surprised actually. Now that we're talking about it, I'm surprised that you haven't.
It's just it's the cost, it's the installation. Like
The
one
shower is
time I
easy.
what's up?
The
Oh
shower
yeah,
is
the
super
shower is
easy,
easy. Yeah, admittedly,
and it's not that expensive either.
yeah. Yeah, I
Which
just
is
got to
great.
find the right one, and I think I'll probably do that.
Yeah, I installed one. I think it was $40 on Amazon. Unscrewed the
Hmm.
thing, screwed it back in, and
Okay.
then it's probably actually way past time for a new one. But
What's Mud says, "What's up with the distortion happening near this guy's headphones? Is he AI? We might be AI. That's a good point. I don't know. Are you talking about me or are you talking about Luke?
I think
Because
the green screen, like bleeding.
oh, the distortion near the headphones. Yes, I have a green screen behind me, and this is a fake background. This is not my apartment. This is like a Google Meet uh false background. I'm only putting it up because otherwise the green screen here, look, I'll show you. You want to know what it actually looks like? It looks like this.
Oh,
And let me actually move. Like my camera's pointed kind of. Yeah. So
Sammy, this is Zach. Max is the name of my younger son. I named my firstborn son after Zach here, my brother, and I think he called you Max. He meant to say Zach.
yeah.
I didn't know you do jujitsu though. That's cool, Sammy. Congrats. Is that why you asked me? I remember you asking me a way back, not way back, maybe a year ago, about certain gyms in Florida. Yeah, yeah. Now that I remember it. Now Zach doesn't do enemas like I do. I wouldn't say that I'm a fan. I do them as part of a specific liver flush protocol. I don't just do enemas. I
Look, I
do
think you
them
should
on a specific day.
start a new YouTube channel. It's called Enema Fan,
Yeah,
and you just talk about how much you love enemas, and that's the whole channel.
I could review enema bags. You
That's
know,
not it's not a bad idea.
sell castor oil for the tube to lube the
That's
tube.
funny. Yeah, yeah.
I deleted all the videos off my YouTube channel where I was doing the liver flush day, which is drinking olive oil and lemon juice at 2 p.m. Half hour later doing a coffee enema. Because when I was trying to monetize my channel, I got denied once saying that I had information that was dangerous. So I deleted a bunch of stuff just to be sure that all like the claims that you could heal naturally were gone, you know, and any type of weird shit that I was talking about with my friend Richard was gone. I made him his own channel and offloaded all of our live. And so then, you know, after that, I did actually pass monetization, and I've made $50 so far, but they won't cut me a check until I get to 100. So
$100.
$100 is the minimum check that YouTube will send.
Is that where $50? Where did that come from? Is that just from
Couple of
ad revenue?
couple of donations. No, I don't have
Oh,
ad revenue
donations.
on.
Got it.
I didn't turn ad revenue on. I don't get
Got it.
enough views.
Yeah. No, I know. I know. That
I'm in
you
the
get a lot.
hundreds of thousands. I'm getting over 100,000 views per month right now regularly. But I
Hmm.
also don't want ads on my channel.
Hmm.
I don't like watching ads on other people's channel.
Yeah, it's very delicate to do that right. I mean, I use a extension called Sponsor Block, which will skip the sponsored ads that happen in the middle of YouTube videos.
Oh, cool.
I recommend installing it. It's actually really nice. But you know, I don't know. I'll if some podcast host is rattling off, I'll sometimes listen, depending. And sometimes I'll fast forward. You know, if I don't want to.
Well, yeah, I don't. I would be open to product placement. You know, this episode is brought to you by, but I don't want like the first thing that you said where YouTube comes in and they put their own ads in.
Right. Yeah. 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 It is very annoying, admittedly. Also, you can do that like you can do that when you have a larger audience and you actually maybe are at the point where maybe companies are sending you products and then you you start using them. You're like, oh, I really like this product,
Mhm.
right? Maybe I should advertise with them, and maybe they're open to the idea of sponsoring you in some way. Yeah, some of the ads are very creepy too. Yes.
Definitely gonna take time to um, reach out. I asked ChatGPT to kind of lay out. I love using ChatGPT. I go, yeah, I got my YouTube channel's monetized now. I don't want to put ad revenue, but I do want to get corporate sponsors. You know, give me a step-by-step guide. How do I monetize my YouTube channel without ad revenue. So I got that on tap.
It's cool. Did you last time you and I talked, we talked about SSI? I mentioned that my friend April said that it's you might be eligible if you had a diagnosis from a licensed psychiatrist.
Yeah,
Said you like called them or something.
I got a telehealth appointment. So basically, what's the date?
Oh, you already scheduled it.
Yeah, the first date they had was in like late January though.
That's awesome.
So this is, yeah, January Monday, January 27th, 11 a.m. It's definitely going to be a recommended medication just from talking to the person who set up the thing. They were saying how, yeah, we do it all here. So
Yeah.
she's going to diagnose me and write me a script. But I want to try, I don't want to kind of paint myself into a corner where it's like, oh, now I'm in the system and,
Hmm.
they're going to be after me to get on drugs.
You could say at the outset specifically like I'm not going on any drugs. All I'm here for is to see if I can maybe get a diagnosis or maybe get some more information. Having SSI, I don't know how much you would get, um, but it could be a legitimate nut of money that you could get every month and put it towards something. Um, Forget exactly how much um, you could get. Supplemental security income. How much could you get?
Yeah, I have super chats, Alessandra.
Um,
Pretty sure. Let me just check
uh, it, it, yeah, it depends on how much you're getting from work. So, yeah, I mean, you could get anywhere from like, I don't know, 600 to 900. I
Sure.
think the maximum monthly SSI payment for 2025 is $967 for an individual. The account may be lower based on your income, certainly family members' income, your living situation, and other factors. So, yeah, I mean,
I don't know
doubtful
where
you'd
it
get.
is on the screen, Alessandra. It's definitely somewhere. Um, I haven't really looked at it. I did set it up though. Um,
Well, let me see if I can see it here.
Mud, where's
Mm,
Doyle this morning? I love when people like just come in here and say, "Get Doyle. Doyle's the real star." Um, where's Doyle? He has his own channel and he has his own phone number, Mud. So I get very irritated by him. And it's irritating on two levels. Number one, he himself is irritating. Okay, he wouldn't be in a group home on drugs. His family disowned him if he wasn't irritating. Okay, that doesn't happen to normal people. Number two, I'm fucked up. I have no patience for people because of my brain condition. And number three, he's a reminder of me being a failure because he's crazy. He's in the system, whether he actually has kids or not, he's not able to be with them. And the fact that I dedicated so much of my time and energy to working with this man and got nowhere is evidence of how fucked up I am and how stupid my decisions are. That I brought this person and made him not a major, but a part of my life and got nothing out of it.
is that
And then I have trolls like you coming in here and saying that he's better than me, that
well?
my channel is not as good without him.
They're
All right?
probably reacting to the fact that you have him on so regularly.
Yeah. And
So
he's
moving
supposed to come
moving
over
forward,
today. He left his streaming phone here, so I called him. And I don't like saying rude things about people. I don't like being mean to Sir Doyle because I know he's disadvantaged. So I called him. I told him he had his phone here to come over later, spend the night, go to church in the morning, get his phone. But I don't want to spend too much time with him because it's about 2 hours when I reach the end of my rope.
hmm So does that mean moving forward, you're not going to be spending as much time with them?
Uh, well, I'm going to Maine next week, whether it's the
Mhm.
middle of the week or the end of the week. I'm gonna be gone for a month, probably. I would like to stay on the road if possible, but I did commit to um, doing this kids program, so I'm gonna come back from March 1st, teach for at least 6 months here in
Mhm.
Lynbrook, if I can. Dad told me he wants me out in June, so I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do as far as living June, July, August, 3 months,
Mhm.
whether that's pay rent or find a new spot.
Yeah. Well, you could, I mean, if you had SSI, uh, let's say you're making 600, that's 600 you could theoretically put towards rent.
Hmm.
I've been um I've been on this Facebook group, Long Island Buy and Sell,
Hmm.
and they list apartments there a lot. And, I mean, apartments aren't cheap,
Right.
but I've seen them go as low as like 1200,
Wow, that is cheap.
which honestly isn't bad. And if you really looked, you might even be able to get something cheaper. I've heard of people finding apartments from like just random Craigslist postings. Maybe it's like a basement somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't be the wouldn't be the Ritz-Carlton, but it
Hmm.
would be a place to
Right.
live.
Right. Right.
And I think it would really be great if you had your own place, set your own schedule,
Hmm.
you know. Uh, yeah. You could also keep hold your landlord accountable for when you don't have heat, right? So, but yeah, if you're hustling, making rent is possible.
Hmm.
If you're if you is let's say you get some money from SSI, but you're also working a little bit,
Hmm.
at this gym, you're making some money from that, maybe even something on the side. This is something I've talked about recently because I want to get a car, but a car is going to be an extra, I don't even know, $400 or $500 a month. So it's like, okay, well, I'm going to need that. Where do I get that from? So I'm trying to figure out a way to, and I'm sure you see these too, videos all the time. Yeah, make like, X $1,000 a month doing this side hustle.
Right.
And, it's just building it, whatever it is, building it over time. I've started selling some stuff on eBay, which has been okay, but
Hmm.
I don't know. Always looking for that thing.
Mm.
But it does come down to me being like, Zach, you got to put some time and energy into it. If you want to reap the rewards from this thing, you gotta build it, whatever it is. Like on eBay, for example, you build a reputation, you get a lot of positive reviews, people are more likely to buy from you.
Mm. Interesting. I wonder if, because ever since I can remember, definitely since I got divorced and I saw how important family is, I always wanted to kind of like work with every, like not hire you, but like work side by side. You help me with my website and stuff. It's like we're working together on some level. But since I have exposure now, where especially on the vertical camera feeds, because then we end up on the live, not the live, on the shorts feed. So a lot of people use YouTube now where they're just swiping up and they go from 1 minute video to the next 1 minute video. And those are the videos where I'm getting anywhere from 1,000 to 10,000 views in a day.
Hmm.
But I wonder if something like that would be beneficial to you. Like you have a side hustle selling things. We could have shorts or feature you on a stream, to boost sales and credibility where, you have like a segment on the channel here. Because I changed my channel name to be more inclusive of other shows. So, just kind of talking out loud and hashing things out. Maybe you have your own. Um, I could give you the login info if you wanted to make a video, or we could do something like this where I'm doing the stream, but you're calling in or something and featuring something that you're doing or working on or have finished. Because I know eBay and certain other places where you sell things, they have you could upload pictures, but you could also upload video. You know, so if you have something for sale and you have like a quick video about it, or you working on it, you could actually end up with some more exposure and legitimacy and sales by
Yeah,
being featured.
theoretically. I mean, I've thought about not necessarily getting into something with you in that like a business sense, but I think we could help each other out. Um, I could probably certainly use help with filming. I've thought about filming a cooking video where I make a few specific items.
Nice.
Um, and yeah, I've theorized in my head exactly what it would look like. And I have the equipment and I'm basically ready to go. I just need to like ensure I understand how to use it and I have the lighting correct. I have some lights that I can use.
Hmm.
And maybe I can help you in the same way. Like if you wanted to film a video about you doing something, whether that's making some food that you typically make, or maybe even like a workout routine.
Hmm.
Um, in that way, yes. I don't think I would. I don't want to get involved in anything like official and business related, but I think you and I could help each other out and like
Okay.
learn from each other with our like respective. And I do have a YouTube channel which I haven't launched yet. I called
Oh,
it Kumo and Sons,
oh, nice.
which I have.
Nice.
And I've been thinking about doing like carnivore related cooking videos, simple shit like how to make beef tallow and um, how to sharpen knives, you know, stuff just some stuff that I've been doing and I know a little bit about, and I wanted to see if I can make some videos. And I'd like to learn a little bit more about video production, more specifically about angles, lighting, um, sound. There's a lot of nuance to it to make a video sound really good
Mm.
or look really good. I watched all these videos on lighting, and depending on what kind of light you have, what kind of softbox you have, it could really drastically alter how it looks. So, but yeah,
Okay.
maybe we could do something like that where it's like, oh, let's film something at your place. Let's
Right on.
film a video, and then we could work together on editing it.
Yeah.
Maybe editing it down so it's in a digestible format. You could take that and then you could cut that into clips, put that on whatever, TikTok,
Right.
Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, something like that.
Yeah.
That's
There's
what.
three ways that I edit. One is called DaVinci. That's on the
Mhm.
PC.
Oh,
One
DaVinci
is
Resolve. Yeah, that's the editing. That's the free editing program.
Yep. One is iMovie on the phone.
Hmm.
That's easy. And then I want to look into AI. I know there's a way that you could put a video into AI and you just fucking click and that's it.
My company has a tool that does that. We purchased a company who specifically had a feature where you take a longer video, let's say it's 5 minutes, you upload it to this AI tool.
Hmm.
It will automatically pick out the relevant portions
Nice.
and condense them down into like a 30-second clip, which you could then use for like sidebar advertising or shorts or something like that.
Mm,
Um,
nice.
I never actually used it. I should probably take a look and see whether it's even available to me as an employee. But um, yeah, I don't know. I'm sure tools like that also exist elsewhere where you could just take something and it'll automatically do it in the same way that you can, you know. And then, even when you're editing, let's say you need some filler video in the middle of one of your edits.
Mm,
They got all these tools you can use, generate video. You know,
mm.
didn't ChatGPT just OpenAI just released their text to video tool?
Oh, they
I think,
did?
yeah, I think they
Yo.
just released it. Sammy asked, Zach, do you eat honey or any fruits? Short answer is yes. Longer answer is yes, but in very, very limited quantities. I do have honey. I add it to some foods that I eat in very small quantities. I'll have fruit very occasionally, but it's not like a daily thing, and I don't eat it in larger amounts. I find that fruit sugar, for some reason, causes inflammation, specifically on my face, but in some areas of my body. So I try not to eat too much of it. I wish I could eat more of it though. I love fruit.
Johnny Farouk, you sound like Londos, man. You sound like this old guy who thinks that just because you're older, I have to listen to you. Yeah, I make a lot of mistakes. That's probably part of being a Taurus, where I'm stubborn. I also grew up essentially without a dad because he was working all the time. So I don't listen to authority unless it makes sense to me. And when you come at me like the way you are, I actually, even if it is good advice, I'm not going to listen because you act like a jerk. Now, you troll me most of the time, especially yesterday because it's fresh in my mind. I'm not going to listen to you, bro. And you sound like Londos, who I don't listen to regardless because he's a pharmaceutical salesman who thinks that he did a good job because he had money raising his kids, but neither of his kids talk to him and he's divorced. So why am I going to listen to somebody who made money selling drugs and doesn't have a social life with his own family? Londos, if that's you. If you're not, if you're just an a-hole, then I'm not going to listen to you anyway. So
You know, well,
bye.
you could just block them.
Nah, I don't want to block people because it's like any publicity is good publicity. I always, in my life, when I've blocked people, I've regretted it after. It's kind of a bitch move. I don't mind arguing with people, but I'm not going to let Johnny come in here and think that he has any say at all in my life. Now, I do listen to Zach's advice because I respect him. I look up to him in certain things, even though I'm physically older. He's more mature and he's got a better living situation. So I do, and he knows a lot more about a lot of things. So I do take his advice on certain things. But he doesn't come at me like a jerk like you. He presents things in a logical and friendly way, and that's something that everybody can learn from.
Well, you're also you're coming off. Keep in mind where that's coming from, right? Where what Johnny said is coming from.
Hmm.
So your normal stream. I've seen your streams. Your normal streams are typically not in this format.
Uh-huh.
Your normal streams are typically like you're kind of expanding on
Hmm.
what your situation is and how you're trying to bring yourself out of it and how horrible it is. And you got a lot of stuff with Sir Doyle, and it's like,
Yeah.
he's playing off that. And so
Right.
maybe what
It's
he's trying to say
crucified.
is like through his own way. And yeah, maybe he's being a dick, but it's like this is an opportunity for you to turn that around.
Hmm.
And uh maybe it's like, all right, you don't have Sir Doyle on as much, right? Because he's a negative influence on your life, as you just said, right? He
Right.
irritates you, and you
Yeah.
can only spend so much time with him.
Hmm.
And you tried to help him, and it didn't work. So maybe it's more like, all right, well, now you have an opportunity to change the aesthetic of your live streams towards maybe something a little bit more positive oriented, so that
Right.
when people come back and see your stuff, they're like, oh yeah, Luke was talking about like all the beneficial things that's been happening to him. And we did this live stream where he was like cooking this food and he looked upbeat or something.
Hmm.
So
Yeah. A lot of the trolls, Mud is saying, a lot of the trolls came from when I got kind of put on by Stuttering John from the Howard Stern show.
right,
I
yeah.
went from maybe 2 grand subscribers. Now I'm almost at 6 grand.
Mm, right.
Alessandra, thank you so much. I'll take that as a huge compliment. I wouldn't say amazing. I think I'm definitely a good cook. I have a lot of experience in this specific style of food prep because it's all I've been doing since 2014 for sure, 10 years, but then I started learning about it in 2006. Um, Mud, I'm appreciating you as well. I feel like you might have started being a troll, but when you see that I'm genuine, you also became genuine. So thanks. I do understand that it is the internet, and especially on like those vertical format streams, the comments are just insane. but it is what it is, like you said. Luke, who
Yeah.
are the guys that call Doyle trolls or real people? Definitely trolls. 100%. And now he's saying he wants me to go onto the dark web. I'm like, first of all, no. Second of all, I don't know how to do it. And he's saying,
Who?
"Oh, Doyle."
Yeah.
He said, "Oh, if you don't go on the dark web, then you don't care about helping the kids." I'm like, all right, whatever.
I don't even know what that means. Going on the dark web.
Mhm.
Dark web can mean a lot of stuff. You
Yeah.
know, some people refer to some specific podcasters as being like dark web.
Oh.
When their stuff is just out on YouTube. I don't know if you'd call it dark web.
Mm.
Yeah. So anyway,
Yeah.
so what do you got going on the rest of the day?
Well, looking out the window, it's super windy. I was gonna walk to
It's cold.
Oceanside. It's a 3.2 mile walk to
Mm.
Wild by Nature each way. So it's part of the show. You think, Sammy? Okay, yeah. No problem.
How long does that walk take one way?
Not even an hour, maybe an hour.
It's not I mean it's cold out there, certainly. That's not that terrible of a walk.
Yeah.
I mean I just going to work every day,
Mhm.
I get at the very least 10,000 steps according
Nice.
to my watch.
Mm.
I'm literally walking all day every day when I go to work. So I probably do the equivalent of that just at a standard day. But I try to get out, when I can. I think I'm gonna go for a walk tonight, walk around the neighborhood, look at some Christmas lights before they take them down.
Mm.
The last couple of days I've been like yesterday I worked from home and I did nothing and I felt like atrophied, you know. My
Mhm.
body felt like I needed movement.
Yeah, yesterday I walked a lot. I went to Oceanside, 3.2 miles. Then I went from Oceanside to Uniondale, 5 point something miles. So I got like 9 miles of walking in. Um, it's cool, Mud. I can deal with obnoxious trolls if I'm like we were saying in the beginning. If I get a good night's sleep, I'm unflappable. I can't be triggered.
You could also just
Especially
on like
like last
yeah,
2 weeks ago when I was fasting, my energy was so base level steady. The trolls was just like raindrops bouncing off a windshield.
you could also just assume as a public personality on a social media platform that's going to be an inevitable part of like I watch people on Twitch, they have like moderators whose specific job it is to keep the trolls from ruining what would otherwise be a really good conversation happening in the chat, right? So it's going
Yeah.
to happen either way. You could moderate it if you wanted to,
Hmm.
or you could just ignore it. You could just be like, all right, well, that's going to happen. I'll focus on the people who are being positive and, you know, just accept that trolls are gonna be there either way.
Yeah. Yeah, no problem. You can be obnoxious.
That's why all the podcasts I listen to, they're talking about like I never look at YouTube comments, they say. Because like you have like 1,000 positive comments, you have one comment that's negative, and you're like hyper focusing on that negative comment. Like, what did I do?
Yeah, and I'm a dumbass. I'm like, oh yeah, well, it's better for views when you get riled up.
I don't necessarily think that's true. I think that there are some podcasters who kind of not podcasters, media personalities, whatever you would call them, who kind of thrive off that, who thrive off like anger porn, the screamers, the people who go crazy.
Mm, I see.
Um, I don't know how well that works most of the time. I certainly don't like it.
Okay.
Um, I think you would be better served just from what I've seen of your channel of just producing content.
Yeah.
Um, maybe not focus too much on emotional engagement. Just like, all right, yeah, I'm just gonna do my own thing.
Yeah, as a general plan, what I'm going to try to do is what I'm trying to do is to kind of become a presence where people can hire me out.
Hmm.
Um, like when I go to Maine, I'm not being paid, but I'm trying to develop a reputation where maybe somebody who is rich and famous wants to lose weight, or maybe somebody who is um, uh, recovering, trying to do natural healing.
Hmm.
They want to do a natural healing, so they hire me to come spend time with them for a month or whatever. Um, so I'm gonna gear my content towards that ultimate aim, where it's like they see what I'm doing, as part of just as a general overall theme.
Also, keep in mind there is a lot of value, and I see this from multiple content creators where they give a lot of their content away for free in a
Yes.
somewhat limited capacity,
Hmm.
but on the back end they're like, "Oh, if you want to learn more about this, you can subscribe to my thing. You could book me for this. You could
Hmm.
pay for my guided whatever it is, my guided plan."
Hmm.
I see dating coaches, I see fitness coaches, nutritional coaches, and they all kind of follow that format where
Yes.
they do release a lot of their stuff for free. Actually, most of them started out by releasing all their content for free, and then when they built up a following, then they're like, all right, I'm going to put some of this behind a paywall.
Okay.
So that might be something you could think about. It's like start putting up content for free, stuff you're actually interested in, like how you make these certain foods or some of your specific protocols, edit them down,
Hmm.
make them digestible, put them on YouTube shorts, and
Hmm.
then when you've attracted maybe a little bit more of a devoted following,
Hmm.
and you don't even need that. I don't even know if you need that many. They say you only need like 10,000 really devoted fans to make a living off your business.
Okay.
Um, like really devoted fans, people who will basically buy anything that you release, right? If you have 10,000 of those, then you can make a living. I think Tim Ferriss said that. You can make a living off of your content creation. Um, I think some of the stuff you could put out would be really good and would actually attract a lot of views.
Cha-ching. Okay, I found the super chat button, Alessandra. If you're still there, it's on the bottom.
There's also a Patreon link I saw.
Yes. I'm not very active on there. I have to get back into writing my book, so I've been uploading the chapters as I finish them. And I did just recently start writing this second chapter, so it'll be up there if anybody's watching who's on my Patreon. I have two subscribers. They pay, I think, $8 each. So every month I get a $16 check, which covers the cost of hosting my scoring system
Hmm.
online, which is, I
That's
think,
good.
$14.99 or something or $15 for this Heroku website.
Yeah. And I was just thinking about this. I subscribe to a guy I watch on Twitch. He's a father of three. He streams retro video games out of his house in Pennsylvania. And for a long time, I was watching him without subscribing. And then I pulled him up like every day. At work, I'd have him on the background
Uh-huh.
until I was like, this guy's providing me a lot of content
Uh-huh.
that I enjoy, and I'm kind of rooting for him because he talked about his life, how him and his wife had really reduced the amount of money that they need to survive,
Oh, nice.
so that they could raise their kids while working from home. Like
Ah.
he streams full time from home. She edits medical documents from home,
Oh,
and so they're both there to raise their kids. And I was like, that's kind of a noble goal. I appreciate that, and so I'm gonna
hell yeah.
subscribe. I immediately put in a 6 month subscription, which was I forget how much. I think it was only like $25, but
That's Twitch,
um,
you said?
yeah, it was on Twitch. But don't discount people donating money to you, whether that's through subscriptions, whether that's through Patreon or whatever,
Hmm.
because they are rooting for you.
Hmm.
Because they're like, I want this person to be successful, and so I'm gonna donate to him. Which I ties a little bit back into what I was saying about the trolls. It's like if you're throwing out a lot of negative energy, or spending a lot of your time throwing out negative energy because you're like reacting to the trolls or whatever,
I see. Yeah,
that
getting back
might
to you.
it might you see somebody being that way and you're like, I don't know if I want to watch this.
Right.
That's my perspective.
Yeah, ugly cry. I have a friend that
Uh,
makes between 2 and 3 grand a month and only does clips from other people's content. Oh
I've
wow.
I've seen that. I've seen people who are making legit money just like clipping Joe Rogan podcasts and putting it up on another channel, and they make like good good money from that.
Damn, I got a lot of content out there, thousands of hours. I should really
You got to do, you know
figure
what you
this
got to
out.
do? A another YouTube channel where it's like Luke
Highlights.
Kumo clips.
Mm,
Just take a live stream or something, and
yeah.
then find something that you thought was really good or really
Hmm.
funny, clip it.
Hmm.
It's a 30-second, minute-long clip or something. Throw that on
Mm,
there.
okay.
I don't know.
Make a to-do list. Yeah, so I think I'll do that. I'll take a couple hours, walk down to the health food store,
Hmm.
um, get when I was doing this fast 2 weeks ago, and getting like lethargic from no, low minerals, I started
Hmm.
looking into this concept of a broth soup where I could stay in the autophagy
Hmm.
but still get minerals and fool myself into thinking I was eating something because the soup actually, like when you after a workout or something, or after you haven't had a drink in a while, even water, it's like almost tastes good.
Yeah, yeah.
So like this soup I was having, it was I'm literally looking at a bowl of liquid with nothing else. It's just like a colored liquid, and I'm drinking it with a spoon. I'm like, wow, this is a fucking delicious meal.
It is like I have bone broth sometimes, and that's almost like a meal,
Hmm.
just in terms of its substance, and you get a lot of electrolytes in it too.
Yeah, if you eat it with a spoon,
Mm.
it's like it's very satiating. Have a couple of bowls and it fills you up. So the basis for my soup now, because I'm not strict fasting, but I'm still working my way towards it. It's a couple of different ways you could do it. You could kind of like boil a some mushrooms, some herbs. I got a bunch of sauerkraut that I made. I made two different types of sauerkraut. One red one with the vinegar, and one green one with water and salt. So I got three mason jars full of sauerkraut, and I have some nori sheets. So I'm thinking maybe for dinner I will get a radish and make some radish noodles, or some zucchinis, make zucchini noodles, or buckwheat noodles. I'll do some type of noodle to go with the soup for dinner tonight. So I'll just grab something from the health food store down there, and then while I'm there, like probably pick up something to munch on the way home, like some nuts or
Yeah.
some figs.
I was just thinking a few things. The first is just based on what you said, I feel like you have a lot of content you theoretically could create just based on the stuff. Like you can make individual videos about making the sauerkraut.
Yeah,
You can make individual videos about making the noodles from radish or zucchini.
right.
Um, Once those are done, you can then combine them into be like, all right, based on this, I then made this broth,
Mm,
you know? Or you'd always like hyperlink from one video. Oh, in this broth, I was using this thing. Here's a link to that video, which shows how to do that. Also, maybe for some quick content, and I watch Paul Saladino do this. I know we just mentioned it in the chat or something.
hmm.
He'll go to grocery stores and he'll do
Right.
these videos like grocery store haul at Whole Foods or
Mm,
at uh, one of these other stores,
hmm.
and he'll just film himself walking around. It's like, oh, I got this grass-fed beef. I got this unpasteurized milk. I got these pasture-raised eggs. I
Mm,
got these fruit. He's
hmm.
showing him putting it in the cart and stuff.
Right.
Like obviously he's just showing how he eats, um, or theoretically how one could shop at a standard grocery store on this diet. And I think it's very similar to your diet in that they're both carnivore diet and your diet are both fairly extreme. So it might not be obvious to people like how to do it, you know? Um, so showing them like basic stuff about how to how to achieve your level of health and nutrition at stuff like, you know, standard grocery stores. I think that could be very very valuable.
Let me see. I'm gonna definitely bring my phone to the store and see if I can stream from there, because they might have Wi-Fi, but it might
Yeah.
not.
Or if not, you could record and then, you know, throw it up later.
Yeah, I like the streaming because it's just like it's
Mhm.
there.
Yeah.
I don't have to upload. I don't have to edit. I can screen record little clips and then put that in. Johnny
Anyway.
Farouk's back.
Yeah. But
Self-destructive. Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question, actually.
I think I'm gonna eat when we're done because I didn't have breakfast. And
PayPal
then
shop.
I'm gonna try to start remaking my shredder outfit.
Okay.
I have 3 weeks until MagFest, and then I want to at least try to remake the helmet between now and then.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I gotta try. I'm gonna try and make it out of cardboard first to make sure I got the sizing correct, and then if the sizing is correct, then I remake it out of foam. But I gotta start working on it because I'm running out of time.
Hmm. All
So,
right. Well, thanks for your time this morning, bro.
do
Appreciate
you
it.
do you know when you're leaving for
I'm gonna
Maine?
say end of next week. I'm gonna go to the Bronx first for a few days, so I probably
Mhm.
won't be in Maine for another 10 days.
Do you want to schedule another one of these for next Saturday? Worst
Yeah.
case scenario, you can't make it.
No, definitely. Even if I'm away, I still want to do it.
All right, yeah,
Yeah.
let's schedule for next because I'm gonna be here next 2 Saturdays, and then I'll be away on the 25th. But
Gotcha.
we could shoot for same time, the 11th, 10 a.m.,
Cool.
and I'll send that off to you.
Yo, guys, thanks for being here. People in the chat, even if you were a troll, appreciate it. And
Thanks, everybody.
if you have any suggestions, questions for either of us, go to the description, see where you can contact me, and we'll certainly consider it.
Yeah, throw it up there, Luke. If anybody, does your brother have his own channel? I don't, not yet. I'm thinking about creating one. If I do, Luke and I will
I
maybe
want to get
cross
him on this
collaborate.
channel. I want to get him his own segment on this channel, just because I already have 6,000 subscribers, and it took me so long to get that little amount.
Hmm.
I think it will benefit, and even if he does spin off his own channel after that, I think it couldn't hurt to start here, and get and use what little popularity I have. But
Yeah,
yeah,
you know,
definitely we'll
it's
talk
just
about it.
yeah, I feel like
Thank you, Alessandra.
like I was saying, I
Missed
think
you.
I said this last time we spoke, but you know, part of a good conversation is, you know, you learn, open yourself to the possibility you learn from the other person. You listen to what they say, you learn from them, and then ideally you would speak and they would learn from you. So that's what I hope you can achieve here.
Thank you, bro.
Thank you.
Oh, man. Love you.
All right. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and I guess I'll talk to you during the week.
Team up like the Hodge twins. All right. Yeah, you're gonna have to help me become a comedian like you. He says the comedy gets good views.
Yeah. Yeah.
All
Well, we
right.
could think about something like that. Yeah, maybe doing some sketches or something. Who knows?
Sounds
Cool.
good.
All right, man. I'll talk to you later.
Later, bro. Love you.
All right.
Bye, everybody.